Time to get started. Hey, I am Coach James, and welcome to At the Track Live, where we actually race Hot Wheels cars. But before we do that, let me tell you all about aerodynamics. All About Aerodynamics is the science program where I use Hot Wheels cars to teach K through 6th grade students about physics, about aerodynamics, about energy, about Isaac Newton, about a whole range of science and physics related topics. And in the end, after I've taught them the science, all the students get to pick one Hot Wheels car that they think would be fastest in a series of races. And based on everything that they've learned about aerodynamics and drag and downforce and kinetic energy and potential energy and elastic energy and on and on and on. Once they pick their cars, they set up a 20-foot drag race track, which is approximately at 20 feet, it's about 1/64th scale quarter mile. So if you've ever seen most drag races are a quarter mile, Hot Wheels cars are 1/64th the size of a real car. Therefore, in order for us to mimic a quarter mile drag strip, then that turns out to be just a little bit more than 20 feet. So we have a 20-foot drag race track set up so the Hot Wheels cars can race. The students pick their cars. We have a tournament. They race their cars. And then based on the way their car performed, they decide whether or not their car performed up to or below their expectations. And they try and figure out why. Would they pick a different car in the future? Would they stick with the same car? It's up to them to determine that using the scientific method. But before I can bring in all of those cars to let the students pick and pick to race, I have to make sure that I know which cars I have, which cars I'm bringing in, and so that I can make sure that I've collected all the cars back and take them home, take them to the next school, so the next group of students can use them. In order to do that, I have to catalog the cars. So I have to take a picture of the cars. I have to enter the information into a spreadsheet, and I have to make sure that I have good accounting for all my cars. In order to do that, I have to just sit around, put the cars on a what is this, a little pedestal turnstile, take the picture, and then log it into the spreadsheet. And it's something I have to do, but it was pretty boring. So I was thinking, how can I make that process a little more interesting, a little more fun for me? And I came up with the idea of At the Track Live. At the Track Live is where I get to crack open all of the Hot Wheels cars that I have purchased in the past, but haven't entered into the spreadsheet. So I haven't opened them up and I can't take them to the students until I've done that. So with At the Track Live, I get to go into my storage crates, pull out Hot Wheels cars that I've bought over the last few years, and crack those open, take a look at them, we'll review those, and then take those cars out to the track and actually see how they perform, see how they do. But the other part of that, aside from me getting to see how the cars perform on the track, is that you have an opportunity to be an active participant. So what does that mean? What does that look like? What that means is that if you go to atthetrack.live, and you're going to have three options. One's for the Twitch stream, one's for the YouTube channel, and the third option says choose a car. If you select choose a car, it will take you to this page. And on this page, all of the cars that are currently in the rotation in the All About Aerodynamics at the Track Live garage are listed here. There's pictures of all of the cars along with a number. And based on, I would say, going all the way back to, actually the last group of cars I haven't entered yet, but so far, I think since we've been doing At the Track Live, probably added in at least 25 cars. All of these here in the blue are At the Track Live editions. So, what number are we at? So far, it's 481, and then I still have the cars from the last episode to include. So the number's pretty. It's climbing pretty quickly, and I think we're going to hit that 500 mark pretty soon, probably sometime in October. But if you see a car in this group that you think is faster than one of the cars that I crack open, then all you have to do is select it. So if you think that this number 387, Inside Story, if you think that this minivan, van, something, if you think this would be faster than one of the cars that I crack open, all you have to do is take the number of the car, which is listed just before it, so in this case 387, you drop that in the chat, and then I'll go pull that car out, and we will take it out to the track and race it against whichever car that I picked up, or that I just opened. This Inside Story, this is one of the ones, because mixed in with this group of cars are a lot of cars that I had when I was a kid, and this is one, and it's called Inside Story because in the back there's a window, and if you look in the window, there's either a little motorcycle or a go-kart. There's some kind of vehicle is in the back on the inside, so that's the Inside Story. So if you think Inside Story is going to be faster than whichever car I happen to open today, then okay, you're welcome to pick it. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't think Inside Story. Maybe you want to pick this one. I like this car. I don't know that it's all that fast from what I recall, but the Hemi Cuda, that's number 388. So you can scroll through and find any of the cars that I have already posted and cataloged and listed. And again, if you think that you can find one that you think is faster than the one that I posted, okay, sure, then you can pick it. If you think it's this 64 Buick Riviera, number 239, this is the Dia de los Muertos edition, and this is a great looking car, and it's one of my favorite cars. Again, on the track, I don't recall it being all that fast, but it is just a great looking car. And as a matter of fact, let me do this. Just happen to have these sitting right here because I got two versions of it. I got one version to race that the kids could choose, and then I got another version. I got another one that I could just keep because I didn't necessarily want to have it being smashed around the track. And if you saw the last episode, you know that Hot Wheels cars can get bashed around on the track, and the paint can get chipped, and any number of things can happen. So this is the car. Let's take a zoom in, take a closer look here. Some of these details. Let me lock in that focus. And this was one of the first cars that I remember seeing that had the skulls on the wheels. So see right there on the wheels, they're skulls. And that's kind of cool. Some of these cars, a lot of these cars, they put, it just depends, but sometimes you can see they put a lot more effort and energy into the design of the car than some others. And I keep going back to that Lamborghini from a few episodes back that just looked like they dropped it in some paint and pulled it out and said, well, here you go. There was no detail. Let me pull that one up, as a matter of fact. Because this one, let's see. I'll even put on the turntable. Where is that Lamborghini that they didn't really put a lot of time, effort, and energy into? I know it's one of the newer. There it is. There it is. This one, the Sesto Elemento. This one, it had these orange triangles here. But other than that, it was just so flat. The darker parts of the blue here are just because of the shadows, but when you look at the actual car, there's just no detail. And when you compare that to this car, I mean, it's night and day. There wasn't really an inch of this car that they didn't touch in terms of making it appealing and visually appealing anyway. And this is, I believe, because it's got the letter on the top, it's one of the art series. I think that's what it's called, the art series. And so those cars usually do have a few more details, but this is great. So I found this one. I got two of these. So there's one in with the rest of the cars, and then this is one that I just have here on the shelf because I like it. And also happy Hispanic Heritage Month, which began yesterday. So then I had this version of the car, and I saw somehow online that there was another version, but it was I believe it was a Kroger special. And here in California, we don't have Kroger. And for anybody who's outside of an area that doesn't have a Kroger, Kroger's a grocery store chain. In California, we have two stores. We have a chain called Ralph's and another called Food for Less. And Ralph's and Food for Less are both, I guess, owned by Kroger. So the generic products in Ralph's and Food for Less are Kroger products. Well, anyway, I saw something that said Kroger had a special that they had a different version of this car that was only going to be available in Kroger stores. So, since I looked in the Ralphs and the Food for Lesses here, didn't have them. But my mom lives in a state where they have Kroger. So I just mentioned, like, hey, if you happen to see this car when you're in the grocery store, could you pick it up? And lo and behold, she went and was actually like digging through the Hot Wheels cars like a real hardcore collector. And she found the other version, which is this one here. The black and white version, the Kroger Special. And it is the same car, obviously, but just with a completely different design or color scheme. And so this one is black and white. And I was extremely happy that she found it, because in the time that it was supposedly, out in the stores, I never saw it in Ralph's or Food for Less or any of the stores near me. So this is one that my mom picked up on a Hot Wheels hunt. And so I've got both of these. I've got that one and got, let me get it on there. Got that one. Got these two. Those are two of my favorite Hot Wheels cars, period. Let's take a look at those. But yeah, that design work is impressive. Speaking of design work, just before I came here, I was out at the Mattel design headquarters. And so, for anyone who doesn't know, Mattel is the company that makes Hot Wheels, and they have their headquarters is here in LA. Well, specifically, it's in El Segundo, which is just a little southwest of LA. And they had an event celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. So it was a car show for the most part, but then they had giveaways and raffles and things like that. So the bad part is that it started raining. It started off as sort of a light mist, and then it turned into a drizzle. And by the time I left, it was starting to actually rain a little bit, which is something that you don't typically think you have to worry about in Southern California. But that's how it was. It was raining. But so I was taking pictures of cars and looking around, and I'll probably post some of those on our Instagram account, which is at AA Aerodynamics, and that is also the place that you should go if you want to get a heads up on when the next All About or At the Track Live broadcast will be. We usually post that on the Instagram page first, although you can go to atthetrack.live, and if you scroll down, there's a calendar, and from the calendar you can see when the next broadcast is as well. But anyway, so I was at this design center, the Mattel Design Center, and they had a table set up, and they had some Hot Wheels designers, the people who actually design the Hot Wheels cars. And I was talking to one of the people there. So let me remove this. And he was a Hot Wheels designer, and he does graphic designs, and he had this. Well, so this part of the car is green, which is why you're seeing through it, because it's going to the green screen. So you can't really show green and have a green screen operating at the same time. So if you can imagine, this part of the car is green. But anyway, you'll see it in the stores pretty soon. It is a 73 Honda Civic Custom, and he did the graphic design. His name is, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this correctly, Andres Andrieu. It may be French. I'm sure someone else can figure out exactly how to pronounce that. But anyway, I met him and we were talking, and he was telling me about really how long it takes and how much work is involved with designing the Hot Wheels cars and the graphics, and at every step and every level they have to get approval. They have to get approval from, in this case, Honda. They have to get approval from the legal department. They have to get approval from different levels of management, and it's really a long process. And he said that he designs, because he does the graphics. He doesn't design the actual cars. He designs the graphics that go on the cars. And he said that he does about 300 cars a year, which is a lot, especially considering, he works with the other designers to come up with the ideas, but they still, in the end, have to do the work. And so to crank out that many designs is impressive. I didn't know it was that many. And he said there were about 18 people right around there on the design team. I also met the guy, Charlie Angelo, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but he is the one who designed the Donut Drifter, which I see this in the stores. I've been seeing it in the stores for the last couple of years, and he came up with this. And he said, I asked him if it was a hard sell, if he got a lot of pushback when he said, hey, I want to design a Hot Wheels car with a donut around a donut. And he said he designed about 3 different versions. And once they got to this one, this was the one that was selected. People liked it, and it's been popular. And so I've seen lots of different versions of this, with the chocolate donut, or the one with the sprinkles, or some other variation. I asked if he designed the cupcake car, because there's also one that has a cupcake, but he didn't do that one. But he created the Donut Drifter, which is in the on the page. It's one of the cars that we have available. So if you think the Donut Drifter is going to be faster than whichever cars I pull out, pick away. Pick the Donut Drifter. Go right ahead. Who else? Spoke with Ralph Benitez, and he designed this Chevy panel truck, custom panel truck. And they have this whole Hot Wheels NFT thing that I'm not really familiar with. So I don't know if this is going to be available in a store to buy, or if it's just a picture, a digital picture that you have, the NFT. But either way, it had to be designed, and he designed this and the graphics and stuff. So there was that. And then I also met Kevin Geraldez, and he designed, this is another one with the green screen situation. So this car is actually green and yellow. You can see the yellow. All these parts in here where the green screen has done its thing, all those are green. So this is a custom, what is this, a 75 Monte Carlo. And this one is from the Red Line Club, so that you have to pay money, and you get notifications, and they're limited runs, and it's a whole other process. But this is more of a collectible car, and not something that I would use out on the track, because At the Track Live is about actually racing the cars. Even though I have the 2 cars that I just showed that I have sitting on a shelf, the majority of the cars that I have are not sitting on a shelf. They are being played with. They have been played with. They are being raced. Students are allowed to roll them and play with them, put them on the track, analyze them, weigh them, do all of those things. And when I was a kid, that's what I did. I played with my Hot Wheels cars. So, for example, let me pull this up. This is the car that I had when I was in probably 1st grade, I think. Get this off the screen. And you can see this car is beat up because I played with it. I was not someone I don't even know anyone back then who would just buy a Hot Wheels car and keep it in the package and not open it. The only way that would happen is if they got in trouble and their parents took it away and forgot about it, and they found it later. But I'd open up the car and play with it. So this one's pretty beat up, and the only reason why it's not in the fleet to be picked is because a lot of the cars that I played with, the tires or the axles, which is the little, oh, let me see here. You won't be able to see it, but there's a wire that connects the tires, the axle. And on some of the cars that I played with, it's bent, and so the tires don't roll well, or they wobble or are turned inward, so the cars can't really make it down the track. Not that this car would be particularly fast anyway, because it's all metal and it's heavy, but I'm thinking that if I go to one of these Hot Wheels swap meets or meetups where people create custom versions of Hot Wheels, I might take some of my older cars and try and get the wheels changed out. Now, these are like the classic wheels from the 80s, but if they're preventing the car from rolling properly, then I think I'm going to have to sacrifice keeping the original wheels in favor of getting wheels that allow the car to roll and be used. And that's not the only, because I have plenty of cars like that I have another one, this Roger Dodger car. It's another one that I played with a lot, and the tires are beat up, and get this in here right about there. Tires are beat up, the paint is all chipped off. This used to be a gold car, and as a matter of fact, fortunately, I have a second one of these. I had two for some reason. So there is a version of this car in the list on the webpage. Oh, you can see that front wheel. Like, you see how it's just bent right there, and it's angled out. I've got to get a pointer. Let me see. Try this pin for right now, but like right there, you can see that the wheel is just bent, so this won't roll down the track. But this one I actually don't need to do anything with, because I do have another version, and the other version has the full gold reflective metallic paint. It's a good looking car. This one, not so much. But this is just an example of, again, I played with these cars. I didn't keep them on a shelf and just look at them at night before I went to bed. I actually played with the cars outside on the playground, and this is sort of the end result. But there are people, like I said, at Hot Wheels meetups and swap meets and things like that, people online who will customize the cars, and hopefully I can find someone to change the wheels and axles on some of my older cars, and then I can enter those into the fleet, and the students can pick from those. Speaking of Hot Wheels collectors and meetups and all of that, last Saturday I went to a Hot Wheels swap meet event in Pasadena, California, and there were dozens of people who had tables set up, and they were selling collectible Hot Wheels, they were selling rare Hot Wheels, they were selling mainline Hot Wheels, which are the ones that I tend to buy. Again, mainlines are just sort of the basic Hot Wheels cars that you would find in the grocery store or Target or Walmart, somewhere like that. And I came across a guy who was selling 90s era Hot Wheels cars. I mean, his table was full, and I got there late. He said that earlier there were people who were there in the morning, that he had at least maybe 100 more cars than what I saw. And the reason I was excited about the 90s era's cars is because I collected Hot Wheels cars when I was a kid back in the 80s. Then I didn't collect them in the 90s when I was a teenager and in college and whatever. And then my son, he was born in 2001. So around 2004, 2005, uh, he started playing with Hot Wheels cars. So then we'd go to the store and we'd buy them and we'd race them. And that's really how All About Aerodynamics and At the Track and the whole thing kind of started way back then. But we'd buy Hot Wheels cars then. So I have Hot Wheels cars from the 80s, some from the 70s and 80s. Then there's a gap. And then I have some from the early 2000s, the mid 2000s, all the way up till now when I buy them for the program. So the big gap is the 90s era. So when I saw this guy and he had a whole table full of 90s era Hot Wheels, I was just like, yeah, this is what I've been looking for. So I bought a bunch of these cars. Probably, I think I bought maybe 25 or 30 of them. And I am going to, usually I try and take the cars that I bought a long time ago. So if I have 3 years worth of cars in storage, then I want to go back to the cars I bought 3 years ago and start to bring all of those into the At the Track garage or fleet, and then work my way forward to the more current cars. However, once I bought all these cars, I'm so excited to get them on the track that I just decided, you know what, I got to crack these things open. And so probably for the next at least couple of episodes of At the Track Live, it's going to be these 90s era cars that I've got at the Hot Wheels swap meet. And there's some that I'm really excited about. As I mentioned in the last episode, a couple episodes ago, I have this car, which is the, let's see here. It is the Lincoln Continental that is from The Matrix. And it's the car that when they were taking Neo to go see the Oracle that they were in when they're driving in the rain. And this is it, the Lincoln Continental. This is the Matrix edition. And it's a great car, but I can't really use it with our track because it has rubber wheels. And a lot of the premium Hot Wheels cars have they're called Real Riders, but the rubber tires. And because they have the rubber tires, they're not as fast on the track as the cars with the traditional kind of mainline plastic wheels. But this is a really good looking car. It's got the white wall rubber tires. So I love this car, but can't really do anything with it because it's got the rubber wheels. So this is another one that just ends up on the shelf. And the license plate is AA034, which I presume that's probably movie accurate, but I don't know. Well, anyway, when I was going through the table that had the 90s Hot Wheels on it, I found a Lincoln Continental, that same car, but it was a mainline edition. So it means it doesn't have rubber wheels. It has plastic wheels, which also means it can go on the track. I don't know if it'll be fast because if it's all metal like this one is, then it's going to be heavy, and heavier cars tend not to do as well. Now on a gravity track, that's fine, but our track is not a gravity track. Our track is a flat drag racing track that the cars are released with a launcher. So that tends to leave the heavier cars, especially the cars from the 80s, like the orange one that I showed earlier, that are all metal. They tend not to do well because they're just too heavy. But also, as we saw in the last episode with the K truck and some others, if the car is too light, then it also won't do well. So there's kind of a sweet spot on the weight side if you want a car that will do well. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not gonna necessarily, if I find the Lincoln Continental, that's sort of one that I really do want to get on the track, but because they're all in this bag, and I'm going to just kind of reach in blindly and pull out a car, and then whichever car it is the car that we will take a look at. So let's do this. Let's get to the first car, see what it is. I'll just blindly reach into the bag. Pull one out. Okay. All right, so the first car is the Shadow Jet. Shadow Jet 2. This is from the Techno Bit series. Yeah, Shadow Jet. Let me see if is there a year on here? 1997. So, yeah. Let's see. There's some information. I'm just looking at the back. There's some 90s Hot Wheels promotional information on the back that says the 1996 Hot Wheels computer cars assortment featured cars with a disc of interactive activities and cool collector facts. Look for rigger motor, power pistons, and others. So it's funny because these cars come with a disc, and for a whole lot of people, depending on your age, you might not know, like, what do you mean the car came with a disc? A computer disc, because before, computers had the ability to have large hard drives and storage capacity. You had to have an actual disk, a little physical disk that you'd put in there, and you'd save things on the disk. In this case, I guess Mattel was doing some kind of promotion where the Techno Bit series cars, there was some way, or no, I guess the computer cars collection came with some kind of disc with interactive activities and cool collector facts. So, well, anyway, the Techno Bit series didn't come with a disc, or if it did, I don't have it. So, but that's not important, because even if I had the disc, I don't have any computer old enough to stick it into. So be it. Anyway, let's crack open this Shadow Jet 2 and put it on the turntable and take a look at it. Wow, this this 90s packaging is a little more robust than I'm used to. Okay, so the Shadow Jet, let's see if there's a number on the bottom, 1994. So this was probably just reissued. So let me get it over here. 4. And let's take a look at the Cyberjet. Okay, the Cyberjet. It's an interesting shape, and I'm inclined to think that it would be a little more aerodynamic than your average car, but it really, let's see, the wheels, take a look. The wheels are not flush with the fenders and the frame. They're kind of tucked underneath, and I don't know. That's been kind of hit or miss. It doesn't really. I have found that cars with the wheels that are tucked in under the frame and are very narrow, those cars tend not to do well. But this is such an unusual and unique design that this could be the exception. So let me just go ahead and shoot the video of this one. Lock in the focus. Don't need to zoom in that far. Zoom in just a little bit. Lock that focus in. And the reason why I shoot the videos is because there is a version of All About Aerodynamics that is online. And for the online version, the students don't have the opportunity to look at the cars in person. So I bring the cars, or I have video, and then with the video, they can get a good look at the car and decide if that is the one that they want to select. So let's see, this is Shadow Jet 2, not to be confused with Shadow Jet 1, and this was from 1994. And it's almost got like the cockpit of some kind of like fighter jet, almost like the stealth fighter. And again, some of these 90s cars are just so unique with their designs, these fantasy castings, that I really have no idea how they'll perform on the track. And let me see, let me stop this, get a still picture, because everyone can use the still picture, because once I add it to the fleet, you will be able to select this. Who knows, this might end up being one of the fastest cars out there, or it could be particularly slow. I don't know yet, but let's try and get a little bit more. I just want to, such a unique car that I'm trying to make sure that I get enough of an angle on there so that the students can get a real sense for the shape of this car. Take this 3/4 view, take that picture. Got it. All right. So, oh, I know what I did wrong there. I need to set this to square. There we go. So let me take this picture again, lock in the focus, get a little bit of light on that front area. Boom, got it. Okay, so that is the Shadow Jet. Interesting looking car. Yeah, okay. So we got the Shadow Jet. Maybe it's fast, maybe it's not. I don't know. But that's why we have to race the cars, because there's always surprises, and especially with this assortment of cars, have no idea how they'll perform. So that's car number 1, the Shadow Jet. Car number 2, I'll dig into the bag again. Got one here. Okay, what do we have? We have Sidekick. And this is, let's see, Race and Win Online. Get the code. See the back for details. What year is this? This is this says 2001. So maybe they're interesting. So on the bottom of the card it says 1970. But on the card it says 2001. So clearly this is a car that was originally designed in 1970, and this is just a version of that car, an updated version from 2001. But okay, so it says, it's got some interesting graphics on here. Postal Express. I don't know. All right, let's crack it open, take a look at it. Oh, so just a moment. So I've opened, well, first of all, it's rattling around. Oh, this is wild. Okay, there's a lot to take in, but I opened this package up, and there's a little sticker inside here that says, peel and win. Peel and win right there. So I'm going to peel it and see if I've won something. Let's see, peel and win. What did I win? And if I won, has the contest, oh, has the expiration date passed? All right, let's see, peeling. I'm peeling, and there's a little sticker here. And it says that I'm supposed to go to planethotwheels.com and enter this code. Let's see if planethotwheels.com is a thing. While I do that, I can take a look at this car, which I'll see in a moment why I'm having such trouble with it. So let's get this on here, spinning. Let's take a look at this one. This is Postal Express. With this, I mean Postal, it's called the Sidekick, but it says Postal Express. And I think maybe the idea is a futuristic mail truck, I guess. And so watch this car. Oh, something comes out of the back too. Wait a minute, let me get the bigger view. When I pulled this seat out, this rack in the back popped out. So let me do this again. When I pulled this seat out, then that rack pops out, and I don't know what that's about. It's not clear from the picture on the package, but first things first, let me go to planethotwheels.com and see if that's actually even a thing. planethotwheels.com. And it is not. It just takes you right to the Mattel website. So clearly, Planet Hot Wheels, if I wanted to redeem this code, if I wanted to find out if I actually won something, I should have done that 22 years ago. So it's a little late. So with this, let's take a look at this. Is an interesting car. Let me get this video going. And I don't know if I should take the video with it extended or just, oh, I guess I'll just keep that video with the car sticking out, and then it's also with the picture. I don't know if I should take it with the car sticking out or in. I guess in, because then students won't get confused and think that that's how the car is typically. So I'll put this in Sidekick, and then I'll put Postal Express just in case I have another Sidekick car in there. But I'm almost certain, I'm still trying to figure out what that extension in the back is supposed to be. If the theme is a mail truck or a mail delivery vehicle, and I'm just guessing just based on the graphics on the top that's what they were thinking, but the picture on the package doesn't really give any insight about that. And then also the year, it's funny because it says 1970 on the bottom of the car. Stop this. But press this in, get this still picture. This is a weird car, and because of that little gimmick where the door and in this case it would be the driver's seat. The driver's seat slides out. There's a lot of rattling when I move the car around. It just kind of rattles around, but let's zoom in here. Closer look. All right, lock in this focus. Kind of turn it just a little bit this way. A little more of a 3/4 view. although this 3/4 view does not, it hides the key factor and key part of the car, which is that odd door or seat sliding out. And the reason why I think maybe this is supposed to be a mail truck is because, or a updated mail delivery vehicle, is because mailboxes, if they're out on the street and you're driving down the street in the United States, then the mailbox is on the passenger side of the car. So if you're in this vehicle and you're the mail carrier, you're coming down the street, you hit that, you'd slide out, you drop the mail in the mailbox, and then you'd slide back in the car with this huge engine, and you'd take off about 50 feet, and then you'd slam on the brakes because you'd get to another house and you'd have to make another delivery. So that it's just it's odd, but that's part of the thing. It's like, this isn't something that I see on a regular basis. And who knows, 20 years from now, the cars that we see in the store all the time, people might say, what were they thinking back in 2023? Maybe they'll be trying to understand the design there. Right? Wait, this is okay. And it's pretty heavy. This is like a steel. I don't know what I've done. So the door, when it comes out, like now I've gotten it stuck. I can't get it to pop out, but for the purpose, oh, there we go. It's metal. That's all metal. It's almost like a Monopoly piece, but it's got that whole bottom part is, focus. That whole bottom part is metal. So this is an interesting car. The Postal Express side. I keep calling it the Postal Express, but this is the Sidekick. And so that's what we have there. We have the Sidekick, and we have the, what was it? The Shadow Jet. So we have the Shadow Jet, and we have the Postal Express Sidekick, which is how I'm going to refer to it. All right, so that's two cars that we have, and we are going to pick up some more. Let's see. All about aerodynamics at the track live. All about aerodynamics at the track live. All about aerodynamics at the track live. If you want to participate in At the Track Live, all you have to do is go to atthetrack.live. You'll have to scroll down just a little bit. You'll go to choose a car. When you go to choose a car, then you will be taken to this page. On this page, you will be able to scroll through all of the cars that we currently have. And if you see one that you think would be faster than one of the cars that I've cracked open, if you think that this Turbone Charge number 101, if you think that this car would be faster than the Postal Express Sidekick or the Shadow Jet, then all you have to do is take the number of this car, which is listed here, 101, and put that into the chat, and I will pull that car, and then we'll see what happens when they hit the track. If you think that this stock car number 182, if you think that this would be faster than one of the two that I've just opened, put the number in the chat, and then we will take it to the track. This stock car is interesting because yesterday I was at the Mattel store, which is how I found out about the event today. And I picked up one of these stock cars, but it had characters from Frozen, I think, on the side. And I thought I had this car, and so I should have checked. So the frozen stock car will end up being a prize. So if you happen to be one of the students who is participating in All About Aerodynamics, give away prizes and prize cards all the time, then you might have a chance to win that other stock car, the frozen stock car, as a prize. And if you want some additional information about All About Aerodynamics and our science program, all you have to do is you can go to atthetrack.live, and there's a link, and you can go to All About Aerodynamics, our website, aaerodynamics.com, and you can find out more details about the program. There's contact information if you want to bring All About Aerodynamics out to your school or special event or science fair or math and science night, any of those things. Just contact me and we'll see how we can make that happen. But for At the Track Live, what we're doing is we are picking out 90s Hot Wheels cars, and we will be taking them to the track. So far, we have the Postal Express Sidekick, and we have the Shadow Jet 2, not to be confused with Shadow Jet 1. I'm going to have to look up and see if there is a Shadow Jet 1. Maybe they just jumped straight to 2. I don't know. But next up, I am going to reach in, pull out a different car. Got my hands on one. Okay, what have we got here? This is the Crazy Eights. Crazy Eights. Oh yeah, it's even got crazy. It says Crazy Eights Wrestling. Crazy Eights Racing right there. There's not a bunch of information on the back. So this says 2001 first edition. So I guess I got 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. This one actually on the bottom says 2000. So Crazy Eights. That is this one. Let me crack it open and then we can take a look at it. Okay. Crazy Eights. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at this. Crazy Eights. And since I have it here, I might as well get the picture first. So just get that nice 3/4 view. That is a monstrous, massive engine that this thing has sitting right there. Come in here with that angle, turn it a little bit. Okay, looks good. Lock in the focus and get that picture. Move forward a little bit. Right there. Got it. And now let's start up the turntable. Take a look at this thing. Spinning round and round. Okay. It's another of these designs that has the driver's cockpit right in the front. Again, in that kind of fighter jet style. It's massive engine. The engine is humongous. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, there's 8 pistons. Well, yeah, something. I'd have to take a closer look to see exactly what they intended. There's so much going on there, but nevertheless, this is going to be car number 489, and this is the Crazy Eights. and it said it was year 2000. It's got a huge wing in the back. I think of the cars, the three cars that we've looked at so far, I think that this one might do well. It's hard to say because that engine is plastic, so that means that the majority of this car is plastic. The front part right there is metal, but with it having all that plastic and then a little metal in the back, metal in the front, that might actually help it out in terms of that when I mentioned that sweet spot as far as the weight of the cars and kind of where they need to be in order to typically kind of do well on the track. This car is kind of checking all those boxes, but again, you never know until a car gets out on the track. So this is Crazy Eights, and it's got this right there. Crazy Eights Why do I keep saying wrestling? Crazy Eights Racing. And then it gives you a better look at the engine compartment from the top down. So there's that. All right, so we have Postal Express Sidekick. We have the Shadow Jet number 2. And now we have the Crazy Eights. And let's see. We are going to get our next car. So, let's see. I will reach into the bag here. Just reaching around, not knowing which car I will pick. Got my hands on one. Here it comes. Okay. Another interesting car. This is Alien. And it is part of the Artistic License series. Let's see if there's any information on the back. In 1995, it says, look for the 1995 Splatter Paint series of 4 cars with totally out of control paint jobs. I don't know. So, this is not one of those cars, but... Oh, see, that was the other thing that I mentioned. Back in the 90s, when you look at the cards for these cars, they're just this generic blue car graphic. Whereas now, and on the other series, this Technobit series, they had this blue graphic. But now if you see a Hot Wheels car, the packaging looks like this. So there's a picture of the actual car. And so it's an artist rendering, but it's a picture of the car that's in the box. And instead of this just generic thing here. And the reason why that helps is because, like with the Postal Express Sidekick, they usually will show, you'll see in the picture, more details about what the car is and how they expect it to be interpreted. So while I'm making a bunch of guesses about this car, and okay, it's the post, I'm presuming it's a post office postal vehicle, if there was a picture, it would probably make that a little easier to determine and I wouldn't have to guess, but that's not the case. But anyway, so now we've got this car, the Alien, the Artistic License series. What year is on this? 1988. So, and then on the back is 1997. So it's another of those cars that was originally designed at one point, and then they redid it and reissued it later. So initially it was 1988, and then they re-released it in 1997. And maybe they've re-released other versions since then, but who knows? So, all right, let's crack this open and take a look at Alien. This car is heavy. And let me get this crazy 8s out of here and get this heavy, heavy alien car here, and switch views, and let's take a look at the alien. It does have 4 wheels. It's just that 2 of the wheels are tucked underneath the frame. So as this comes around here, let me lock in this focus and take a look. Now, from a aerodynamic standpoint, it seems fine, more or less, but that weight is gonna just, I don't think that's not gonna help. That's not gonna help matters at all, because again, with a gravity track, heavier cars tend to do better. But on our track that uses a launcher, the heavier the car is, gravity will start to work on the car, pulling it down, but it's just gonna slow down, and I really can't see this car doing well. But you never know, because this whole back part is just metal, and so it's like this car is just dragging a big metal suitcase behind it. If they'd gotten rid of that big suitcase area and just put the wheels in, dropped a pair of wheels right there underneath that fin, that yellow, black, and red fin in the back, then they might have had something. But they went ahead and added a big metal suitcase. So it's not what I would have done, but hey, you really never know. If this car might surprise us and end up being one of the faster cars. This is car number 490. This is the Alien, and I don't know that that's not the most creative name, but sure, okay, Alien, and that is 1988. You have the Alien, 1988. Let me get the still picture. And with some of these cars, it's kind of hard because I want to get the 3/4 view, but I also want to have a sort of accurate representation of what the car looks like. That's bad. Let me get to the photo. Okay, zoom in, get it right about there, and turn it just a bit. All right, I think that's pretty good. The Alien. Take that picture. Nice. All right, so we have 4 cars at this point. We have the Alien. We have the Postal Express Sidekick. We have the Shadow Jet. We have the Crazy 8. So that is 4 cars that we have right now. Leave the Alien up there. Continue to kind of take a look at that one. That's actually, you know what? Let me weigh that car right now, because I'm curious about how much this one weighs. So the Alien is 55.2 grams, which is enormous. For example, this K truck, the one from the last series of races, is 32 grams. Here's another one. What was this one? This was the Impavado 1. The Impavado is 34 grams. And the Impavado, which was this one, from a few episodes ago, did pretty well. And that was 34 grams, roughly. But the Alien the Alien is coming in at a, let's say, a whopping 55 grams. Now, the fact is that the Alien will be racing against other cars from the era, some like that Postal Express sidekick car, seems pretty heavy. So I wouldn't be surprised if these two heavy cars have a good race, but it's just a slow race. And which means if you go to at the track.live, you scroll down to choose a car, and you go to this page, you can find a car that we can race against the Alien, the big heavy Alien. And pretty much any car that you pick on this list, unless you end up picking one of the cars that I had from the 80s, for example, if you pick the Murata Stalker or the front running Fairmont, those are heavy cars, but those are these gold hot ones and the wheels spin pretty well. So I think either of these would destroy the Alien, but I don't know. That's why we have to race. So you can go pick a car, find the number of the car, and put that number into the chat, and then it will make a race happen. So that is what we are looking at. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we have 4 cars. I'm going to pick a few more, but I want to find, in particular, I'm picking them, I'm just reaching in the bag and pulling them out at random, but I do want to find that Lincoln Continental, because that's the one car that I do want to make sure gets to race. So what we're going to do is, because I rushed back from the Hot Wheels event, came in, set everything up, and jumped right into the broadcast here. So I didn't have a chance to take care of a little bit of business, but I'm going to find that Lincoln Continental and going to be back. And it's not going to take 5 minutes. It's going to take a few minutes, but I'm going to find that car and then we'll come right back. Okay, so I found it. Let me move that graphic. I found it, this Lincoln Continental. So this is actually, it says 2007 first editions. So it is a 1964 Lincoln Continental. And I don't there's not a, usually there's a year stamped on the bottom. This one doesn't have it, but it says it on the package, 2007. So I guess I will just go with that. Let's see. It says, from the design tables of real car manufacturers to the imagine of Hot Wheels concept artists, 2007 First Edition presents the latest innovations in both realistic and fantasy vehicles. Collect them all to add the newest Hot Wheels rookies to your collection. So I guess this 2007 is the year. So let's crack this open and take a look at it. Okay, let's get that off of here. Whew, that alien car is heavy. Let's get this one up here. I was very excited when I found this car. This is one, and this one is actually, I can't tell if it's a dark blue because of the, I mean, maybe it's just the reflection making it look like that. Let's get this video. And so this is interesting. So this one also has the white walls, but these are plastic tires, whereas the other one that I showed earlier had rubber tires. And this is the 1964 Lincoln Continental. And the year, go ahead and put 2007. And this will be car number 491, which I think at the beginning I said we'd get to car number 500 at some point in October. At this rate, we will get to 500 before the end of September. Let's take a look. This car, I think it is black. Yeah, I definitely like this. I can't wait to see this one race. I don't think it'll be particularly fast necessarily, but given the cars that it's up against, it might not do so poorly. So that is a nice looking car there. Let's see, I need to get the still picture. So this one has a white interior as opposed to the other that had the it had just a black interior. So let me get this three-quarter view. Definitely a longer car. Zoom them in here. Right about there. And turn just a bit. Get some light on back, that rear area. Trying to get a little bit of extra light. Maybe I might have to actually reflect some light back on the, trying to get a little bit more light on that back, that rear panel, just because it blends in so well to the background. But we lock in the focus here. Bounce a little bit of light over there. And snap the picture. Got it. Okay, so let's take a look at this car next to the Matrix version of this car. One here and one right next to it. Let's hit this turntable. Get it both going counterclockwise. There we go. You can see they both, like this is the same car. It just one is made with metal and higher quality than the other. The paint looks a little rougher on the Mainline, the 2007 version. Yeah, that is about the same length. And again, you look at the back, you see that on the Matrix version, they painted the taillights red. There's a license plate. You have the Lincoln logo on the back. Both cars do say Continental, but it's more pronounced on the Matrix version of the car. You also have the Lincoln logo right there. The other car doesn't have it. You have some white trim around the windows that the other car doesn't have, but the other car does have a white pinstripe going down the side. I think that is blue. I think it's a really dark blue, whereas the Matrix version is black, but you can see the paint is definitely a little rougher. And then the wheels. The wheels are different. One set we have plastic. On the other hand, we have metal. Now, let's see what the difference in the weight of these two cars is, because they are otherwise pretty similar. So let me check. So oh yeah, this is definitely as far as the color, it's blue, and it's got a sort of metallic finish on it. So I don't know if that's really, it doesn't really come, it's hard to see here. Yeah, it's not going to come out. All right, so this car, the Mainline version, weighs in at 33.8 grams. So that's the Mainline version from 2007. The Matrix version is 59.2. So it's significantly heavier. And part of that is because the bottom of the Matrix car, which is this one, all of that is metal. On this car, the 2007 version, all of that on the bottom is plastic. So that is the difference that accounts for the weight being so significantly different. All right, so put this Matrix car over here. All right, so far we have the Alien, we have the Sidekick, we have the Shadow Jet 2, we have Crazy 8s, and we have the Lincoln Continental. So we have 5 cars so far, and we need one more before we hit the track. So I am going to once again just reach into this bag. I am going to see which car I pull out. Got my hands on one right now. Okay, so this one, interestingly enough, is not a 90s car. So because it's not a 90s car, I'm going to leave it. I'll show it to you, but this isn't the one I'm going to open up because it's about 90s cars. But this is a Nissan Maxima drift car, and this is a newer version for 2022. So you may have seen this one in your Targets or Walmarts or grocery stores. This one I just liked and picked it up. I'm not even sure. I think I might have one of these in storage, but this one I definitely like. So this one will end up in the fleet sooner than later, but it's not going to be today. So today is all about those 90s cars. So I'm going to go back in, get a 90s car. And I guess apparently 2007, because that's when that Lincoln Continental was from, but we won't tell. All right, got my hands on another car, pulling it up. Oh, okay. Here we go. We have a Corvette Stingray, and the packaging, this plastic is probably yellow because it's so old, and maybe somebody just found it in their garage, or maybe that was something that Hot Wheels was trying to do. I don't think so, because usually they would want you to see the color of the car. So if we look at a current version, or not one that's, you know, this is what the packaging typically looks like, clear plastic. But if you leave it out in the sun for a while or what have you, the plastic will turn this color. So let's see, what year? This is a Corvette Stingray, 1998. And let's see what it says here on the bottom. There is no year listed on the bottom. Oh, yes, there is. 1975. So, another case of they produced this car a long time ago, and then they reissued it and probably updated it with some different wheels, probably a different paint and color scheme, different graphics, and re-released it in 1998. So we'll still have this listed as 1975 because I don't know about the reissue date. I'd have to look that up to find out exactly when that was. So let's crack open this Corvette Stingray and see what we've got. All right, so let's get this over on the turntable. This car is particularly light. The wheels feel a little funny, but let's get this video, lock in the focus. Okay, so this is just a basic Corvette Stingray. I know that I have some of these in the fleet. I don't know if they're necessarily the same year because usually the cars will say, 1974 Corvette Stingray, but this one just says Corvette Stingray, so that's how it will be entered in. Corvette Stingray. Yeah, so I have a Corvette Stingray, an orange one, at least, because that's what came up when I went to go put this in the spreadsheet. This one we'll call color is that it's almost a mustardy color. It might not be clear on the screen, but we'll call it Corvette Stingray Mustard. And the year was 1975, even though it was reissued in 2007, but that is some investigative work that I'll do later on. All right, got that. Now just need to get a still picture, and this will make our 6th car of the day, and then we will head to the track, see how these cars do. Switch it over to photo, zoom in. That looks good. And like that. Turn it just a little bit. That's good. Lock in the focus. And a little bit of light over there and snap the picture. Okay. So just so we have some ability to compare, let me just go ahead and see what this car weighs, because it feels light. Feels like there's a lot of plastic on this one, so that may help it in the races. So let's see. So this car is 38 grams, which it's not insignificant. That kind of keeps it right in there with the others. These wheels seem really stiff. Well, I guess they're rolling. I don't know. I'm just checking the wheels aren't. I don't know. I guess maybe they just need to be loosened up. Need to be played with a bit. Okay. All right. So let's see. We've got our 6 cars to take to the track, and just to review again, we have the 1964 Lincoln Continental. We have the Shadowjet 2. We have the Postal Express Sidekick. We have Crazy Eights. We have Alien. And then we have this Corvette Stingray. So those are our 6 cars. Going to take them to the track. And just to remind people and let you know, if you haven't watched an episode before, this is the view of the track that you are going to get. It is separated into three camera views, and the cars will start off in the view on the far left, with the cars being at the top of the screen. Then, when I launch the cars, they will come shooting out of the launcher, and they will travel toward the bottom of the screen. Then, that's the first section of the track. Then in the middle, you can pick it up, and you can see the middle section of our track, and you'll see the cars, again, racing from top to bottom. And then you can move over to the third section of the track, which is on the far right, and you will see our finish line area, and the cars will come through, and our finish line will indicate the winning car with a solid red light. A flashing red light indicates the car that came in second place, or in this case, lost. So, solid red light will be the winning car. Flashing red light will be the losing car. So with that, there is nothing left to do but for me to grab these cars, take them to the track, and just a reminder that all of the races are best 2 out of 3. If a car crashes, then we redo that race. If a car crashes twice consecutively, it's disqualified and it's out, because there's usually some bigger reason why it won't stay on the track, and it's not going to be solved in the time that we have. So best 2 out of 3, and we will see who takes it. So I am going to gather up these cars, and I will see you in 30 seconds over at the track. Okay, so now we are ready to race. I just have to make a quick check to make sure that we're getting proper sound. So let me check that really quickly, because we did have an issue. Hang on. Okay, we seem to be good on the sound, but I just want to make sure one more time. Hang on. Okay, all good, all good, all good. Just had to double check because we did have an issue a few episodes ago, and we went through all the races, and then the sound cut out, and so we had to redo everything from then. So, all right, let's see. Let's start off with, we'll go with this big boy. We'll go with the Alien against the Shadow Jet 2. So the Alien against Shadow Jet 2, and we'll see how this all turns out. So loading the cars into the launcher, and the Shadow Jet is in lane number 2, and the Alien, the big boy, the 55-gram monster, is in lane number 1. So we've got Shadow Jet in lane number 2. We've got the Alien in lane 1. We are going to set this race off. And again, remember, solid red light indicates the winning car, and a flashing red light indicates the losing car. So let's see what happens. Three, two, one, race. And this is precisely why we have to race the cars, because the Shadow Jet lost and looked particularly slow. Not that the Alien was setting the track on fire, but the Alien was pretty consistent, and the Shadow Jet just looked like it was almost running out of steam. I'm surprised it didn't look like it was going to have enough to even get across the finish line, but eventually it did. Still lost, but we can see that just because the car is heavier doesn't mean it should be discounted. So there are a lot of other factors that go into a car performing well other than just the weight. So there we go. Don't judge a book by its cover or its weight. So now we're going to switch it around. The Alien is going to be in lane number 2. Shadow Jet is going to be in lane number 1. And we got them lined up here. See if the Shadow Jet can. Maybe it just had a bad performance. Maybe something was just off in the I don't know, in the launch, I have no idea. It just looked really slow. So we'll see what happens in this race. If the first race is any indication, Alien should take this with no problem, but you never know. So here we go. Three, two, one, race. Alien, again, with ease. So, the Alien said, hey, I heard you talking about how much I weighed and how big I was and this big metal suitcase I'm dragging behind me. And the Alien still went down the track and convincingly defeated the Shadow Jet 2. All right, so Alien. We'll set the Alien here and await its next challenger. So next up, let's go with this Postal Express Sidekick against the Lincoln Continental. And the Lincoln Continental, I think I said that the interior was white. Now looking at it under the lights, the interior is actually a light blue, which is kind of cool. So this should be interesting because this Sidekick, if that side door flies open during the race, that's not going to be good. But hopefully it stays closed. And this Lincoln I'm thinking this Lincoln might be pretty fast. At least against this Postal Sidekick car. So, we've got the cars lined up. The Lincoln is in lane number 1. We've got the Postal Express Sidekick in lane number 2. So Lincoln lane 1, Postal Express lane 2. Solid red light indicates the winner. Let's see what happens. Three, two, one, race. Again, this is why you have to race the cars. I don't know what's going to happen. I have these ideas, I have theories, I have hypotheses based on what I've seen and observed before, but you never know. That race was not close. The Lincoln Continental, being lighter, being a little more, I don't know if I would say it's sleeker, it's lower, but it barely crossed the finish line. It looked almost like the Shadow Jet was out there. And maybe the Shadow Jet and the Lincoln will have to have a race to see which car is the slowest. But that was not close at all. We are going to switch lanes and see if the Lincoln can have a better accounting of itself. So now the Lincoln, it's a good looking car, but it's not fast. At least it wasn't fast in that race. Maybe there was some problem that prevented it from showing its true speed. But meanwhile, the Postal Express kept its door closed and rolled right on and made, well, I guess I could use this pun, the Postal Express delivered a win. Okay, so here we go. Got them lined up again for race number 2. We've got Postal Express, lane 1. Have the Lincoln Continental, lane 2. Time to see what's gonna happen. Three, two, one, race. And what happened was exactly what happened before. So the Lincoln Continental also lost handily. The Postal Express car flew by and said, you know what? This was a race for 90s cars, and the Lincoln was trying to slide in as a 2007 car, and didn't quite work out. So the Lincoln is out. The Lincoln can go take a position parked next to the Shadow Jet, and Postal Express will line up next to Alien and see which of those cars will move on. But next up we have Crazy Eights and the Corvette Stingray. Now, again, just more of me making guesses. I'm thinking that the Corvette Stingray should do okay, but so far today I've been wrong. So since I think the Corvette Stingray should do well, then I will flip my pick and actually pick the Crazy 8. Why? Because everything's been coming up opposite today, so why not stick with opposites all the way around? So we've got the Corvette Stingray in lane 1. and we've got Crazy Eights in lane 2. And we're going to see how this turns out. Okay. Three, two, one, race. Oh. All right, well, that race will have to be run over because the wing on the Crazy Eight in the back, it got caught on the acrylic panel that sort of keeps the cars on the track. So let me okay. So I'm going to try something a little different. See if I can get the Crazy Eights car to stay on the track. So let's line them up one more time. And so the Corvette made it down the track, but it was a little difficult to tell how well it did or did not do. I mean, how fast it was, because it didn't have anything, it didn't have another car to race against. Let's get this Crazy Eights car back in there and get that lined up there. Now it looks good, and I think I know what I'll do for it this next round. Okay, so got them lined up again. Crazy Eights in lane 2, Corvette Stingray lane 1. Let's see what happens. Three, two, one, race. As I predicted, once I went and selected the opposite car, the Crazy Eights took the race and got it to stay on the track, and it took it pretty handily. So Crazy Eights is up 1-0. We're going to switch lanes and see if the Corvette can keep up. So let's see what happens here. And again, none of these cars don't look fast, but they're competing against cars that aren't fast, so they don't need to be really fast, they just need to be faster than the other car. So let's get the Corvette over here into lane number 2. Okay, and then we're going to get number 1, get Crazy Eights in lane 1. So we've got both of these cars lined up right here. Okay, and all right, we've got them lined up, and we will check this race out, see how it goes. Crazy Eights wins, then it will move on to face either Postal Express Sidekick or the Alien in the next round. All right, here we go. Three, two, one, race. Crazy Eights takes it. So it's turning out that these 90s cars, even though that Corvette Stingray was a sort of a newer version of a 70s car, it still lost, and lost by a significant margin, and therefore it will be up to the final 3. And those final 3 are the Alien, the Postal Express, and Crazy Eights. So what we'll do is let's go Postal Express versus Alien and see what happens in that matchup. See if the heaviest car, I'm pretty sure that this Alien is the heaviest car that we've raced so far. And I might, have to change my views on some of these heavier cars. So we're going to put the Alien in lane number 1. Right there. And then we'll put Postal Express, the Postal Express Sidekick, in lane number 2. I like that these cars line up pretty easily. Alright, so we'll get them here. So again, Postal Express Sidekick lane 2, Alien lane 1. This is the first race, so let's see how they do. Three, two, one, race. Postal Express takes it, and it wasn't close. It was not close. So this Postal Express car, it keeps its door closed and just gets the job done. So we will switch it up and change the lanes. And this Postal Express car is now one victory away from making it to today's finals against the Crazy Eights. But it's not over yet. We've seen other instances where cars have come back after losing the first race. I'm going to put Postal Express lane number 1 in the Alien is going to go into lane number 2. Get them lined up. Okay. Let's get this cover happening here. All right, so we've got Postal Express Sidekick lane 1. We've got the Alien car lane 2, and we'll see what happens. Solid red light indicates our winner. Three, two, one, race. That race was a little closer, but Postal Express still took it. And that means that it moves on to the finals against Crazy Eights. And it's also funny because these metal cars, which the metal cars, when they hit the finish line, and I have a little barricade there to kind of stop the cars once they cross the finish line, it's a loud thump sound that you don't get from the plastic cars, or the cars that are predominantly plastic. Okay, so now we're setting up our final matchup, which is Postal Express Sidekick versus Crazy Eights. So let me get these cars locked in and lined up. Postal Express is going to be in lane number 2. Crazy Eights is going to be in lane number 1. Get them just lined up. Try to make sure that they get a solid, that both cars get a good solid launch. Okay, then lined up. Again, Postal Express Sidekick, lane 2. And Crazy Eights, lane number 1. This is the first race in the final series of races. All right, let's see how they do. Three, two, one, race. Okay, that was a good close race, but Crazy Eights pulled it out at the end. I thought that Postal Express Sidekick might catch catch up, because a lot of these heavier cars, with the length of the track, they start to kind of lose a bit of momentum as they get further down the track, and sometimes they can get caught. And so Postal Express was closing the gap, but didn't close it enough in time to win. So Crazy Eights has a victory. If Crazy Eights can take this next race, then Crazy Eights will be today's All About Aerodynamics at the Track Live champion. Otherwise, we will go to a third race. So Crazy Eights lined up here in lane number 2. And then we have Postal Express Sidekick lined up in lane number 1. So lane 1, Postal Express Sidekick. Lane 2, Crazy Eights. And solid red light will indicate the winner. If the solid red light is for lane 2, Crazy Eights, then Crazy Eights will take it. So let's see what happens. Three, two, one, race. Crazy Eights takes the victory, and Crazy Eights is therefore our All About Aerodynamics at the Track Live winner for today. So let me gather up the cars, and I will meet you back in the garage. Okay, so we definitely have a winner for today. It is the, let me get the winner on the winner's podium, and that is the Crazy Eights. Who knew? Who knew that was going to be the car to take it? I think I mentioned that the fact that it had metal in the front, and then it had the plastic, that engine in the middle is plastic, so it had a big plastic component, sort of lightened up the overall weight. And so it seems like it had good weight distribution with some metal in the front, some metal in the back, plastic in the middle. And that last race with the Postal Express Sidekick, it was close. It was definitely closer than some of the races involving the Shadow Jet and the Stingray and all of that. But it wasn't good enough to secure the victory. So in the end, we added 6 more cars to the fleet, some 90s cars, and I still have a lot of 90s cars left. So I'm pretty sure that probably at this rate, maybe like the next 2 episodes will probably be going into this bag, kept picking up the 90s cars and just seeing how they do. And we're getting a lot of these unusual designs, getting some cars that were reissued. And so in the case of like the Stingray, it originally came out in the 70s and then was reissued again in 2000 or whatever year we said for that car. Actually, I'll tell you, well, yeah, I didn't put it, I put it in 1975. But You never know how these cars are going to do. I really didn't. I was surprised by that Postal Express Sidekick. That car, I didn't expect it to do as well as it did. I thought that it was going to be particularly slow, especially since it was heavy. The alien car against a slower car, the alien car did better than I didn't expect the alien car to win any races being as heavy as it was. It wasn't fast, but it was faster than the car that it went up against. So as long as you're doing that, then you're good. You're good to go. So don't have to be faster than everybody, just faster than the slowest car. And in this case, the slowest car was the Shadow Jet. The Lincoln Continental was pretty disappointing. I don't know what exactly I expected of it, but I thought it would be a little faster, especially once I realized that it wasn't metal. And I wonder if I should do, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do just to see what happens. We're going to go back. I'm going to go back out to the track and I'm going to do the Matrix metal Lincoln Continental against the other plastic Lincoln Continental, or the plastic, the one with the plastic bottom. So because I'm curious now that we know how slow the Lincoln Continental was with the metal wheel or with the plastic bottom, how will it compare against the one with the metal bottom? Will that actually make a difference? Let me see. Let's check. Just check on the weight here. All right, so I think we did this earlier, but the plastic version is 33.8 grams. The metal version is 59.2 grams. This race, in theory, it shouldn't be close. The plastic bottom car, I would think, would take it, but it was so slow that this car being heavier and having the rubber wheels, if it beats it, I may have to rethink my whole perspective on cars with the real riders and the rubber wheels. So we're going to go right back out to the track, just race these two and see what happens and how this goes. So let's go back out to the track real quick. Okay, so here we are back at the track. It's going to be Continental versus Continental, and let's see how this goes. Set these cars up. So I've got the all-metal Lincoln Continental, the Matrix Edition with the rubber tires. That is in lane number 2. We've got the Lincoln Continental, the Mainline version with the plastic wheels. That is in lane number 1. Okay, so they're both loaded up. So we've got Matrix Continental in lane 2, plastic Continental. We'll call it Matrix and Mainline. So the Matrix Lincoln is in lane 2. The Mainline is in lane 1. So let's see what happens. Three, two, one, race. Oh. So in this case, I mean, and just barely, it just inched across the finish line, which is the real rider, meaning the main line. Um, I'm sorry, the Matrix Continental. It slowed, and then eventually, finally, crossed. It stopped right on the finish line. It wasn't going to do any more work than it needed to do. It got to the finish line, and that was it. Meanwhile, the mainline Matrix car didn't even cross the finish line. That's embarrassing. Embarrassing. Totally unacceptable. It at least needs to cross the finish line. Come on. What's really happening? All right. Let's see. We're going to switch lanes. I'm going to put the mainline Continental in lane 2 and the Matrix Continental, the all-metal, rubber-wheeled Continental, in lane number 1. See what happens. Let's see. Get it lined up. Doesn't want to stay put. Cars have been lining up pretty well today. Okay, well, keeps moving slightly off the starting block, which is no good because, as I've explained, you need the cars to be pushed, not punched, out of the starting block. So, I'm going to get this thing lined up. Oh, it will not. The Matrix car just will not stay put. Get this thing lined up. All right, there we go. All right. So we've got mainline Continental in lane 2, Matrix Continental in lane 1. In the first race, the mainline didn't even cross the finish line. So the bar is very low for that car. It just needs to cross the finish line to have some pride. Where's your dignity? Where's your pride? Okay, so here we go. Again, Matrix Continental lane 1, mainline Continental lane 2. Let's see what happens. Three, two, one, race. This time, neither car made it. The mainline car made it just slightly, a little further down than the other, but not by much. So we'll line them up again and see if these two turtles can cross the finish line. So one more time. Meanwhile, over here by the track, I have this Star Wars Lando Calrissian car that's longer than both of these, but it's very similar. So I might have to throw Lando in just to see what happens, since he's sitting here anyway. Looks like he's ready for a race. But we're going to go back, put the mainline Continental in lane number 2, the Matrix Continental in lane number 1, and we're going to see how they do. Can they make it down the track? This is very basic, minimum expectations. All right, let's see what happens. Three, two, one, race. And the Matrix Lincoln, crashed into the barrier. And typically, when a car crashes, we'll run the race over. But not in this case, because the car is so slow. Would it have even made it? I think it was a miracle that it made it to the finish line the first time. and the Mainline Matrix didn't even make it to the finish line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Lando Calrissian, looks like a Cadillac of some sort. I'm going to put that in lane 1, and I'm just going to launch it to see if Lando can make it to the finish line. If Lando makes it to the finish line, then he will have effectively beaten both these other two luxury cars. So let's just see what happens. Three, two, one, race. Yeah, Lando made the jump to light speed and crossed the finish line with no problems, beating both of these cars. So, all right, I'm going to head back to the garage for a few final words. Okay, so those Matrix cars, uh, that was a pathetic performance, and but I would really say it's only a pathetic performance from the mainline version with the plastic bottom, because it could not even cross the finish line. It didn't cross the finish line one time. And but the Matrix version, crossed the finish line once. And crossing the finish line is being generous, because it really inched right up to the finish line and then stopped and said, I've done enough. Then we replaced that car with this replaced this mainline car that couldn't make it with this Lando Calrissian car, and you can see how much bigger, much longer it is than the Continentals, and it's mostly because of that cape thing that it has coming off the back, that large wing. But the Lando car made it down with no problem, and I think I'm going to have to put Lando down to be included in the fleet. I don't know why it wasn't, but the car was just sitting there, so it was meant to be. It just happened to be sitting there when we started racing these luxury vehicles, and like, look how much longer that wing really does make a difference. It just sticks out so much further, like there in the back. And these are already very long cars, so that wing just makes it a little bit longer. But the Lando car, since it can make it down the track, then it's good to go and compete against any other cars. So I think I will be adding that car in. Just gonna have to shoot a video and take the picture. But the Lando car might be one that you want to take, that you want to pick. And again, at the track live, I'm going to be opening up cars, reviewing the cars, and racing the cars. And that's pretty much it, except for the key fact that you can pick a car and you can decide, hey, I want to see the Lando car. I want to see the Crazy 8 car versus a car that I've chosen. And to do that, all you have to do is go to atthetrack.live, scroll down to choose a car, and then go through our catalog of cars, our entire fleet, our entire roster. All of the cars are there except for the last few that I have to include. And you pick a car, you tell me which car you want to see race, and then I can pull that car. All you have to do is put the number from the car into the chat. I'll pull that car, we'll race the cars, and then we will see if your car is faster or if the car that I just cracked open is faster. Pretty much today, you were kind of guaranteed any car that you picked would have probably been faster than just about all of these cars. These cars were not fast, but despite them not being fast, we still ended up with a winner, which is this one, the Crazy Eights. So this is today's winner, and we have more 90s Hot Wheels cars to crack open and go through, at least 2 more episodes worth. So there's some really strange designs in there that I have not seen perform on the track before, so everything will be new to me. I don't know how they'll do. We might find the fastest in the fleet in one of these 90s packs. I don't know, but that's part of the fun of actually taking the cars to the track and racing them. We get to find out, see how they'll do, pick different matchups, see how that car does against other cars. So that is the whole point. And again, if you want more information about our science program, all about aerodynamics, all you have to do, you can go to atthetrack.live, just select the link. It'll take you to the All About Aerodynamics website, and you can find out all the information you need about the program and about how to bring our science program to your students, to your special event, to your family science night. Anything, just get in contact with me and we'll work out the details from there. Until then, you can also go to atthetrack.live, look at our calendar, and see when the next live stream is and when the next opportunity is that you will have to pick a car to race on our track. So, with all of that said, I hope you have a good weekend. My name is Coach James for All About Aerodynamics and At the Track Live. Until next time, I'll see you at the races.